Wow. Snap, crackle, pop, Rice Krispies. Boom, 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 boom. Got too much weight on my left-hand side. Man, I think I'm gonna have to redo this, the video that we did this morning. Had pretty good topics going on. I feel like that video would turn out. It's always the videos that have when the wind's blowing and it's dark out and everything. Whoa, hello. That turn out the best. When it's just annoying to listen to because wind noise and other shenanigans. I'd like to get big enough though on this channel to be able to go out and meet some other motovloggers, like Jake the Garden Snake. I think Chase on Two Wheels is in Texas. I know Spike is. I think Yami Noob is as well. You know, just to go out and meet. I don't even really care about the clout. I just like to meet some of these people. Seem like very interesting people. Jixer, bro. And I feel like I could learn a lot from these people as well. Because all these guys have, you know, they've crashed more than their fair share of bikes from the sounds of it. And done a lot of different riding, you know. So I think that'd be kind of cool. I'm not a city guy. I'm really not. So it's hard for me to go out and meet other people. Oh, coon. Got him. Somebody got him too. But yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool. Man, I really need a helmet that. My problem is I wear glasses and I have earbuds and whatnot, and a lot of the padding and whatnot gets warped to where sound and whatnot gets into my helmet. Because I'm trying to stretch everything out and then it just don't, you know, it deforms. Which is what's happening right now. I wonder if I can just close these, so that'll kind of help. Nope, not really, but hopefully it's not like too bad. Yeah. So, how y'all doing? Hope all my internet friends are doing alright. Gonna try and keep a positive mindset for everybody. Which I know is really, really hard, especially for me right now. But, hey. You know, what are you gonna do? Like I was watching one of Jixer Bro's videos, and you know what? That's kind of cool about it. That's what's kind of cool about the motovlogging community is, especially with like Jixer Bro, is, you know, he got it right. You can kind of like, hold on. You can kind of, you know, pinball off of other people and their videos. So like one person makes a video like what I'm about to do right now is, you know, about how you can relate to things, or you've done that exact same thing, so you're gonna, you know, pinball off of their ideas because you something you've never done before, or, you know, or you can add on to the topic, which is not kind of cool, you know. And he was doing this this thing that he was talking about where he deep dives into channels to find out why it is they're not growing or what they're doing wrong, and then I mentioned that, you know, there's a whole persona, character type spiel that people you have to keep. And then over time, if your content gets stale and old, you kind of have to morph your channel into different things in a general direction without taking away the base on what your channel is built on, if that makes sense. And then always trying to keep a positive attitude, or if your channel is built on negative attitudes or positive attitudes, it's all about the persona and the character that you build it on. And personally, that's why I like being so real on my channels and not really having a character and just being my own character, because I kind of cut both ways. Sometimes life sucks. No, we're not going to make that. And life just sucks. There's no way around it. I shouldn't be happy that my life sucks, but I also shouldn't, I don't believe in playing a character that's always happy all the time. I like more real-based characters, that, including people that are like, it's one thing to, I guess it's one thing to kind of fake being happy, in a sense. Wow. Bet you're cool in your cherry red pickup. You didn't even do a burnout. Watch this. But see, because I knew he was going to try and get ahead of me. Sucker. But no, really. It's just, I don't believe in that. I believe you should be the, who you are, because let's say that you put on this persona, okay? Then you go to meet people in real life, like fans, and you're just, like, in my experience, I'm a very colorful person on certain days. So like I want everybody to know that there is that side of me. Not that I'm just all this smiles and sunshine and rainbows all the time. Like, I ain't gonna like kick your kid across the field, punt it like a football, but I'm not, and don't get me wrong, but I'm not the nicest guy, Like, cause there was one time I fought my own mother because I was so mad coming home from work one day, and I didn't recognize this vehicle that had been following me this whole time, and they had pulled in, turned around on another street, and started honking at me, and she was in the tinted out black truck with her friend. And keep in mind, I live in Nevada, and that's never a good sign. So I pulled over, had my firearm on me, and I was like, "What do you want? Because you're following me." And they never rolled down the window, but they thought it would be a smart idea to just sit there and wave at me from inside the truck that I couldn't see into. Yeah, let's just say things got a little heated that night, until they figured out that I didn't know who the hell was following me. But that's just kind of the person I am. I don't, until everybody knows that, I know everybody, or I've seen people once or twice, or, I can just be a real asshole, and, not without cause, but it just, because there could be a kid coming up and touching my bike, and I'd scream at that kid, because I've done it before. Hey, why are you touching my shit? Hey, why are you touching my bike? Listen here, you little shithead. I'm going to talk to your kids the same way I talk to my nephews or what would have been my own kids. And, some people don't like the way I talk. Because it's a very authoritative, demanding presence. But, you know, it's whatever. That, you know, and that's just my take on that. Like I said, and I think it really comes down to personality, though. Like, if you can pull off being fake all the time, or, you know, just forcing yourself to be nice. I guess not really being fake, but forcing yourself to be nice. Yeah. You know, I mean, go ahead and do it, you know, for as much as you can take. But, you know, there's always a limit to what people can take. You know, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say I like attention, because I really don't like people in general, but, you know, I don't get out much. I don't have very many friends, so if I can get out there and meet a couple new fans, maybe ride around with a couple of vloggers, maybe my life would change. I'd see the world in a different light. But as of right now, guys, I just really don't like people. I never really have, though, so... But, you know, that's why I do this, so I can kind of get out there and get, you know, maybe the world will... People understand me a little better. Not that I'm an asshole, I just have a resting bitch face. Resting bitch face. A lot of the time. You know, that's the other thing. Everybody always says that I always look scary or pissed off all the damn time. But, you know, and a lot of people don't understand, too, that I was, you know, I didn't have a father figure. My father figure in my life was my grandfather, who was a hardcore Marine Corps guy. So, like, looking pissed off all the time, or just no emotion at all, is, like, ingrained, so to say. The one thing that he never really was, well, I guess, actually, I take that back to a certain degree, because I have always wore my heart on my sleeve, but the way I've hit it is looking pissed off or neutral. Until I can't hide it no more. Like, once the emotion shows in my eyes, and I hate telling this to the internet, but it's like, whatever. You know, once again, I don't play no persona here. Once the emotion is there, it's there, man. Like, I ain't gonna hide it. No reason to hide it. Man, you feel like you gotta cry? Just cry. Fuck 'em. Ain't less of a man for crying. I mean, well, depending on what it's over, but... You know, like, when my grandfather passed away, what are you doing? When my grandfather passed away, man, I bawled like a fucking 2-year-old. When my uncle passed away, I bawled like a fucking 2-year-old. I ain't even gonna lie. And I was a grown person when both those happened. So, well, no, I take that back. I wasn't grown when... I think it was about 7, 8 when my uncle passed, but I was 22, 23 when my grandfather passed away. Man, oh man, that was a rough couple years. That really was. And I mean, at certain times it's still rough, because it's one of those things when you're talking. For those of you who have had, like, dads who, like, the relationship was there, but you never admitted it, you'll understand what I'm going to say. Early on, because I didn't have a father figure, you know, it was like, you know, who are you? Why do I care what you say? You don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 blah. Times are changing, you know. That type of thing. And then when I got a little older, you know... 18, 19, 20, 21, it was like, hey, you know, by the way, you were right about these things. Maybe I should take your advice a little, you know, a little more seriously, but still kind of do my own thing. And then it turned into, about a year before he passed, 22, 23, it turned into... I was trying to get all the advice and wisdom I could out of him before he passed. And once he was gone, man, there were still things I kicked myself in the nuts for every day that I wish I could have told him. Some of those things are more private than that I won't share on the internet or with anybody. Other things are, You know, like asking about how he kept his marriage together. You know, stuff like that. Life advice, man, because he was married for, I think he married like 2 or 3 times, and he found Lynette, and had been married to her until he passed, which is, you know, I think was over 30 years. But yeah, you know, like I said, and then what to do, like, cause like I said, I was raised by a single mother. He was pretty much my father figure in my life after my uncle passed away. But you know, what to do in this situation? What can I do about this? You know, how would you go about navigating this situation? You know, just stuff like that. Stuff that, you know, I didn't have a father growing up, you know. Just, like, there was one year I got attacked by a dog, and I had to turn to, I turned to him because I didn't know who else to turn to, because, you know, one, I wasn't, he was an officer and I wasn't, and so you know, I always open carried everywhere after 21. I had this dog attack me, big German Shepherd. It was a mixed breed. I think it was German Shepherd and some sort of hound. But it latched onto my leg, and this lady watched it happen. Like, she just let it happen. I kept telling her, like, hey, get your dog, get your dog, get your dog. Finally, it latched onto my leg and actually drew blood. And I got back in my car and was like, you know, hey, you need to keep control of your dog. Like, I'm bleeding all over this place. And she literally just looked at me and she's all like, well, you can just hit my dog if you want. And I'm sitting here going, what? Like, I'm gonna hit your dog that just attacked me so it can attack me more. You know, and at that time I was doing DoorDash and I was carrying, because stuff like this, like, happen on a daily basis in my hometown. People dying, getting kidnapped, eating my animals, man. And just like by people's pets were getting eaten. Like, there was just for example, like, there was a guy, I worked for Amazon delivery. Even though you weren't supposed to, some of us carried, because there was one lady under the third-party company. Oh, by the way, everybody, so everybody knows, because I don't give a fuck what Amazon cares about. Amazon delivery drivers don't actually work for Amazon. They're third-party companies, and the one that I worked for was called East West Logistics. Worst company ever. Like, and it got to the point, anyways, this lady who was there was like some sort of assistant manager or whatnot. One day had gotten pulled out of her van by like 3 or 4 dudes and then attempted to rape her. And then, so she started carrying, and then they said like a year after that, there was a guy who was delivering onto this guy's driveway, and he lived out in the countryside. Well, this guy had forgotten to put his dogs up, and the dog said, you know, because some of these vans have open doors, they don't have doors. And the dogs that weren't put up, the dogs had jumped in the van, mauled this guy, drug him out of the van 5 miles deep into the property, into the middle of this field, and like tore his fucking body up, and were gnawing on his bones for like the next month, until he realized that, you know, he was patrolling the property and found the dude's body, and the truck was in the fucking ditch 5 miles away. So they figured that he just ditched the truck and ran. You know, but that's what that's kind of shit that is like happens, bro. It does. It happens. Don't let anybody fool you that it doesn't happen, because that shit happens on a daily basis. You know, even out here, it's like, I don't know how many times I've been purposely on the motorcycle, especially. People have ran out in front of me, or, you know, there's this one dog that tried to attack me, and the owner just watched it happen, and that was like right down my street. And then I started packing my gun again everywhere out here, because once again, open carry is legal in Texas. And then all of a sudden, everybody started calling their dogs back. It just, it's sad. It's just sad. Because I'm tired of having to pull my gun on animals because people won't train their animals to stay in their yard. It's like my neighbor across the street. He's now had 3 dogs. And one was a pit bull that tried to attack my mother and my dog at one point when we first moved in. And it had gotten to the point where it was so bad that every time they come out there with this dog, they'd watch it come over to the yard and charge my mother and my dogs. And the worst part about it is, too, is they'd always do it when I wasn't home because the first day one, not even moved into the house. Within the first hour, they let this fucking dog out and let it come into my yard and watched it. I literally, I had to go inside and get my 45 because they just were watching this dog terrorize my shepherd and my chihuahua. And so I went out there with the shepherd and had her stay on my hill while carrying this 45 around the yard, because if I got I wanted him to get got while I'm shooting the shit out of this dog. And so finally I walk out there with a 45 and I put one in the chamber and I literally pointed at this damn dog and they call it back in. 2 weeks later, same thing happens with my mother chasing our dogs and whatnot around the yard. And I guess it charged her, and finally she went back inside, grabbed my 45, and pointed at the dog and said, "You come get your fucking dog out of my yard, because if it happens again, I'm going to shoot it." And we haven't seen that pit bull ever since. So now they've got, and then after that, they had this white dog. And I still don't understand this, guys. This guy that's across the street that we've been having all these problems with, his ex-wife lives not one house, but the next house over from us. And they keep this white dog over there. Well, that white dog has attempted to charge my mother twice, has attempted to charge somebody who on a different property that wasn't even theirs once, and I screamed at it that day, and has attempted to charge me and my brother at least 3 or 4 times. And finally, that last time that happened to me, I again pulled my gun, because it's like this big white mastiff dog, and I ain't playing with that shit. I'm not. And and the worst part about it is he just kind of looked at me and shrugged it off and told the dog to go away. And then that one lady that that same dog tried to attack, I come out there because he straight up charged, tail down, ears pinned, and jumped at her and I yelled, scared the living hell out of that one lady. Man, scared the living hell out of her. Poor lady though. And you know what, the worst part about it, he did this all over a for sale sign that's somebody keeps putting up in his yard. I think they're foreclosing on it. And actually it's that lady right there too. Man, I'm telling you, and then not shit like that. People out here don't know how to pull trailers. That's what I'm saying, though. Gotta be paying attention. Yeah, that lady on that for sale sign. That's where that was the sign that was out front of his house. But yeah, no, it's just, I think it's funny. Well, I don't think that's funny, but I just think the only thing you can do is laugh at this point. You know. It shouldn't have to be that way, but that's how it is. It seems like everywhere you go, it's like you can't get away from it. So the only thing you can do is just laugh at life, and shit happens. Because this world has gotten so twisted, it's like laws don't matter anymore until they matter. And then it's like when you go to try and settle stuff yourself, it always ends with a shootout, because the one person trying to settle stuff through a verbal dispute with another person, you get these people who, you know, just like they're children. They're grown children because they've never been told no in their life. And, you know, it's like, it seems like out here everybody I talk to has always been, you know, growing up has always been some sort of gang affiliated. Like, almost every person I talk to has been in some sort of gang. Or hanged out with some sort of gang members, or, what I mean isn't bad. You know, not all, yeah, as you can see my article, and, you know, not all gang members I'm going to say are bad. Some of them do it because of just the area they're in. But, you know, you still shouldn't have to be like that. That's it. I don't know anymore. It's just, this world, like I said, is so twisted anymore that, you know, right is not always right, wrong is not always wrong, and you just kind of got to do what you got to do to survive. With, you know, it's like, you should be picking full good all the time, but you have to pick some sort of evil to be good. And if, you know, you have to, and even the good ones are somewhat evil, and that's what it is. Because there is no true black and white anymore. You're always going to have evil with, you know, these good people doing evil shit, and evil people, you know, doing evil shit for good. It's literally just become a paradigm anymore, because right's no longer right, wrong's no longer wrong. And some people have to do bad things for good reasons. And good people do bad things for, you know, bad reasons. But yet are somehow still treated on this pedestal as untouchable. Look. Everybody's going to get to see all these different cars head on these other cars. Look, this guy's driving half in my lane, half in his lane, because he doesn't want to drive in the dirt. I'm literally doing 40 miles an hour on the dirt on a motorcycle, and these motherfuckers can't even do that on a freaking Harley. Look, he's gonna pass me right here. .45 on a motorcycle in the dirt, and he's too scared to touch dirt, head-oning into oncoming traffic that he can't see because there's all this dirt. How are you supposed to see that, bro? Look, how are you supposed to see? Now you're gonna do me like that because your stupid ass can't drive in the dirt. Just because you can't drive in the dirt, bro. Look, now he's back over here. Ah, fucking bastards. Can we make Texas again, please? I'm literally waiting. I'm waiting for the day that somebody gets... Because like I said, the speed limit here is 45. He's probably doing 55, 60. Because I'm doing 40 right now, and he's just walking away. Just walking away. Look, that truck finally slowed him down. And like, that's the other thing. This area that I live in, look, that guy's in a pickup and won't touch the dirt. Is scared to touch the dirt. The other day I seen it's a blacked out Chevy, and he lives down here. Blacked out Chevy, lifted, mud tires, and he was scared on the dirt, guys. Like, I was in my 2-wheel drive 1-ton Dodge pickup, cruising at 45 mile an hour, and he was so pissed off that he had to drive behind me that he made sure because I had stopped back there, and I explained this in the video. I had stopped at the video this morning. I had stopped back there on the entryway coming in here because there was like a 3-car distance, and there were cars coming at me, and the signage guy wasn't paying attention to what was going on, and he was sitting there spinning the sign. So I'm sitting here going like, okay, well, cool, maybe there's something wrong, because they don't normally do that. And so I'm sitting here and I'm stopped 3 cars away, because I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna move. And this guy gets pissed off behind me, romps on it, peels fucking dirt out, goes into the oncoming lane, damn near hits the first car, swoops back in here, slamming on his brakes. Me and my mother are sitting here clapping at him like a, stupid dumbass. Man, if I'm telling you, if I had all my stuff on video, and like I said, and then he sits here after we do that, and the flagger's all pissed off at him because he almost runs over the flagger, and then the flagger, is pissed off, pointing at this guy, telling him to hug that lane there. And we get over there, and he must have radioed the other flagger, because the other flagger's sitting here pointing him on the end of the dirt, and he's getting all pissed off. And so instead of going in the dirt, he makes sure and gets just far enough to where he's not going to hit this other flagger, and then goes around and hops on the damn road again, head on in these other cars. Then he gets over there, and I speed up because I wasn't going to let him back in. I was going to let him take the L on that one. I speed up, and I make him work for it. Well, he gets up there, romps on it, tries to get in front of me, and he stops. He literally hits the dirt, and it's like he got scared, and he stops 10 mile an hour. 10 mile an hour. Enters the dirt road right there. Enters the dirt road, and then slowly, ever so slightly, gets it up to 15 mile an hour, waits for everybody else to pass, whips it back onto the pavement, and takes off. And he's running like 6-car stretch in front of me at this point. I'm still cruising at 45. And then he backs off because he was scared to round that corner, because once again he's going into a blind corner back there. And he backs off because he can't see, because he's still running on oncoming traffic. And so I catch up with him, and he sees that I catch up, so he gets back over, because that road back there finally turned back to pavement, and he takes off again. He's doing like 60 in the 30, and I'm sitting here just laughing my ass off, bro. It's like, you drive a lifted truck, a lifted pickup with off-road tires, and you are scared of driving in the dirt. And I'm sitting here driving a 2-wheel drive pickup. That one right there, my baby. Like, a man should. I think there needs to be qualifications for owning shit. We need to start criticizing all the people who get all this shit for clout. And then my idiotic brother can't drive. For those of you who don't who follow the Instagram, he took this car because the other morning I come out to him rev bombing the shit out of my truck. Well, it was in gear. And what he was doing was he didn't take the parking brake off, and he knows to take the parking brake off. He was doing this because he wanted to take the car. But anyway, so I come out there, I'm all like, what the fuck are you doing? And he comes over here, and something's wrong with it. It just won't move. Look, I have it in drive, and it's just not going anywhere. He had moved it 6 feet with the parking brake on and locked the brake system up so hard that when I pulled the parking brake off after he left, it slammed. Like, you could hear it slam back into place where, as the reset. Well, so he takes this same day, and he tried to tell us that he hit a pothole in the middle of the parking lot, and it blew a tire. It was newer than that one. And I've hit potholes in this car at like 25, 30 mile an hour, and I've never blown a rim. or never blown a freaking tire, and like he blew it out in the thickest spot on the rubber. So it's like you had to have been hitting that pothole at, you know, 50, 60 mile an hour to be able to do that. You didn't hit that shit in the parking lot, you know, and he's come out to be just a straight up liar. Which is why, you know, now I'm sitting here, have to pay money out of my own pocket to get a fucking tire for these car. You know, and those are like $200 tires each. And they ain't even ours. But you know, this is what I deal with every day. It never fails. It's just it's always something. And like now, there's people across the street blasting music. I can hear it. Oh well, I guess it is Saturday. Sucks to suck. But yeah, everybody, we're gonna leave that there. Just some food for thought. If you guys like what you're seeing, please be sure to share the channel out, guys. We are still only at 2 subscribers. I would greatly appreciate it if we can get more. I'm trying to grow this channel. Also, if you guys are interested in any sort of gameplay, please go check out the link in the description. I believe it's in the description. If not, it is official BCG on Twitch. We do a lot of video game streaming over there. Everything from Insurgency Sandstorm all the way to games like Baldur's Gate. Also, there is going to be a playthrough of Lost Planet coming here soon, the original. So if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff too, please be sure to go check that out as well. Anyways, we'll catch you on the next one.